Hey Fat Blue Man, Hiko Zyman here. This is a video response to Fat Blue Man, who, as you'll be able to see on the link on the sidebar here, he left a video response to my video on speaking Japanese, and truth is I've been meaning to add to it for a while myself. So while I answer your questions, Fat Blue Man, just a few ideas and thoughts. Also, congratulations, by the way, Maggie Bond's song going past 60,000 views by now, I guess, and 250 subscribers, and racing up, so great stuff. Yeah, so picking up on, the main thing, of course, for me always was, because I had trouble motivating myself to study normally, was just to find fun ways of learning. And the main things for me were listening to Japanese music, going to karaoke, watching lots of Japanese TV. But of course, also like you, I used to be on the train a lot, and I used to. The main thing I used to do on the train was listen to Japanese music on MP3, and CDs and whatnot. And yeah, I just listened to songs over and over, and I get my ear used to hearing them. And I found, of all the things I did, listening to music, for example, was great because you don't focus on the grammar or the kanji. You learn the kanji so that you can sing the song at karaoke. But I always found it was great for getting your ear and your voice used to speaking and making those Japanese sounds. And it means that, most of the Japanese that you speak in your daily life, when you say hello to someone or you meet someone for the first time, the conversations are very simple anyway, and they're pretty repetitive. But you can if you like, you can fake being very good at Japanese by sounding good in those simple situations. And that's where I think things like learning Japanese songs, which are also very lyrical, they're made to be sung. Unlike English music, which a lot of the time, if you go to karaoke, you'll find out that a lot of songs were not meant to be with the lyrics showing up on a screen. A lot of them are repetitive and so on. It's one thing I like about Japanese music. So I found that to be the best sort of thing. But going directly to your questions, it kind of highlights another thing, actually, your questions. How the way that you force yourself is by doing what's fun, and what's fun is very personal. And yeah, for example, I've never really been that much into manga or anime, which I know probably seems strange to a lot of people. I know a lot of people get into Japan because they like that stuff. I like a lot of dramas and a lot of movies which I know are based on manga. A good movie, for example, Ping Pong. Theme music was by Supercar, one of my favorite Japanese bands, and that was a good movie. And yeah, it was based on a manga. And there are a few dramas that I've watched over the years. I can't remember the titles. But there are a couple which have been based on manga, and usually they're very surreal, but they can be quite fun to watch. But, so yeah, anyone who's watching this who has a good idea of some good manga, for example, for someone who can already read Japanese, what's interesting, what's good lately, write something down below. With movies, very quickly, I should do a whole separate vlog on movies. One thing, I've always been constantly disappointed by movies in Japan. I think there's a lot of hype around Japanese movies generated by Japanese people, and people pretending to be cultural and like they watch foreign movies, and people rave about Takeshi Kitano, but frankly I can't stand his movies. If you have a look at Brother or Battle Royale, they're terrible movies. I mean, boring, and I don't know why he gets so much acclaim. My favourite movies aren't that famous. They're of course the classic ones. There's the Shiko Funjata, Sumo Do, Sumo Don't. And Shall We Dance and so on. But my favourite movies are samurai fiction, which go and look it up. It's really good, and actually the sequel to it as well, which is the story is completely unrelated, but it's done by the same set and crew. Is a movie called Stereo Future, and they're both really good movies. They're my recommended movies for Japanese if you want to go and see something interesting. And with podcasts, see, this is another thing. When I got back from my vacation, one of the first things I did was I went and got myself one of these fellas, and I'm loving this. And I was told that podcasts will get addicted to them, as it sounds like you are. In fact, I'd like to know from you, what are some good English podcasts? I want to start getting into learning how I use this thing. Again, I don't know, as a result, any good Japanese podcasts. So again, anyone watching this, I'll next time I do a Japanese video as well, I'll tell people to come here and write responses or write them onto your vid. And I'd like to know myself, actually, what are some good podcasts. One last thing I wanted to say, for TV, one of the best shows on TV, especially if you're about mid-level Japanese, there's a great show which I watched for a few years. I mean, the hardest thing, as you'll know, I think, is watching the news, is watching difficult things which use lots of specialized words. And every week, I think it's on Sunday at 6:30 on NHK1, is Kodomo no News. And don't get put off by the title. I mean, I did it first, but when you sit down and you watch it, it's a 30-minute show. It sums up the week's news, but what it'll do is it'll take a few of the big stories of the week, and it won't shy away from financial stories and, kind of very technical, difficult stories, and it analyzes them. It sort of explains them all in a very easy to understand way, in ways that don't get explained in the normal news. And actually, I find I watch the normal news most of the time now, but I still enjoy watching the show. I think it's really informative. It's really well presented. I think the people behind it must be brilliant, because they really do explain things very well. And it's aimed at Chugakse, basically. Which I think is, probably around where you are. And in fact, that's still where I am in many ways. So if you've got a recorder, you can watch that. I'd like to know myself, people watching these videos, does anyone have some suggestions? The best thing, of course, I think, is to consult with Japanese people, which I'll get around to doing. But thank you for the video response and the messages as well in the videos. Loving your stuff. And I'm going to make sure I get on and watch more of your videos, and also get into that music contest so that you can get your $5,000. I'll go and have a look and check out those. And thanks for the video response. Hope you enjoyed this, and enjoy. Look forward to getting to know you more, and keep watching. And I'll keep watching your stuff too. Okay, peace.